Greetings, I'm Ethan, a pawn in the grand chessboard, stationed with the 12th Motor Brigade. My days, monotonous and mundane, were spent driving patrols and inspecting trucks with dubious cargo, or standing guard at the base, a sentinel in the night. But a sudden shift came, a ripple in my stagnant pond of existence. It all began with Chief, his face etched with lines of authority and concern, approaching me with a request. "Look, Ethan," he began, his voice a gravelly hum in the quiet of the base. "You've been a pillar for the regiment, and for that I'm grateful, but I need to ask you a favor." His words hung in the air, a prelude to the unknown, night patrol duty. The words echoed in my mind as Chief explained the absence of my comrades, leaving me as the only available option. He left instructions in the Hummer, a guide to navigate the night's uncertainties. As he walked away, his figure receding into the shadows, anticipation and anxiety intertwined, coiling within me. The next night, as I settled into the Hummer, the note from Chief, forgotten in the cup holder, caught my eye. The words on the paper, written with stern precision, unfolded a set of rules, a lifeline thrown in the murky waters of the night patrol. The note was clear, a beacon in the obscurity. Never exit the Hummer, except under one specific condition. Respond to the radio only if Chief's familiar voice graced the airwaves. Follow the path marked by yellow signs, and alert the base at the sight of any deviation. An old man might cross paths, a potential phantom in the night. Direct him if he claimed to be lost, or else proceed with utmost caution, even aggression. A time limit was set for personal breaks, a narrow window to prevent unwanted attention. Encounters with another Hummer carried their own set of protocols, a blend of hope and dread. The final third of the patrol was a realm of utmost vigilance, where any figure emerging from the darkness was a target, no exceptions. In the event of a breakdown, a call to the base was the lifeline, a beacon calling me back to safety. The most crucial rule, etched in bold, was a mirror of eerie possibilities. If a doppelganger awaited at the base, security was to be alerted immediately, a shield against the uncanny reflection. With a heavy heart, and the weight of the rules pressing down, I embarked on the patrol, the guards' hands clasped in prayer as they sent me off into the abyss. The journey began in tranquility, the yellow signs a comforting constant in the sprawling darkness. But as the Hummer trudged along, the radio crackled to life, a sudden jolt that sent my head crashing against the roof, a harbinger of the unknown that lay ahead in the shadows of the night patrol. "Rule number 2, the note had said. If the radio crackles to life, answer it, but shut it off if it's not Chief's voice. They're trying to locate you." The radio's sudden burst of static made me jump, and I almost lunged for the receiver. A woman's weeping voice filled the air, freezing me in place. My heart thudded against my chest, a frantic drumbeat in the silence. As I tried to regain my composure, the weeping morphed into amused laughter. In a fit of terror and frustration, I slammed the receiver down, cracking its case, and sped away from that haunted spot. The world outside was a blur as I drove, my mind a whirl of confusion and fear. It wasn't until I reached the 1/3 mark that I snapped back to reality, only to notice the signs had turned blue. Panic gripped me again. I slammed on the brakes and radioed the base. "Command, come in," I said, my voice shaking. "I'm on patrol, and these signs are blue." Chief's voice crackled back, assuring me someone was on their way. Despite his inquiry about my evident distress, I lied, masking the terror that clung to me, saying everything was fine. Time stretched, each second an eternity, until a jeep pulled up. The arriving soldier instructed me to cover my eyes and ears as he rectified the sign situation, his actions shrouded in secrecy. The next few miles were uneventful, a brief respite in the night's ordeal. Another Hummer appeared on the road, and relief washed over me as they responded to my hail. But peace was short-lived. In the final third of the patrol, screams echoed from the woods, chilling my blood. My heart pounded against my chest as I slammed the brakes, my eyes widening at the sight before me. My wife stood in the path, a phantom in the darkness. The note's words echoed in my mind, a cruel chant of survival. With a heavy heart and tears streaming down my face, I pulled the trigger, the gunshot a harsh break in the night's silence. I drove on, the weight of my actions a crushing burden. The night's horrors culminated as I approached the base, only to see myself standing there, a malicious smile plastered on my face. I alerted the guards, my voice choked with shock, and they escorted me to a private cell, away from the eerie doppelganger. Hours later, they released me, the ordeal finally over. I shared my patrol story, a tale of terror and loss, yearning for solace in the company of others. Relief washed over me as I learned I hadn't really shot my wife, a glimmer of light in the darkness. Chief approached me the next day, his words a mix of praise and reassurance. Despite the night's horrors, a new task awaited me, handling delivery security. With Leonard and Peter by my side, I prepared for the night, hoping it would be devoid of the previous night's shadows. The shift would start at 6:50 in the evening and end at 5:15 in the morning, a stretch of time I hoped would pass in peace, away from the eerie events of the night patrol. "Have a good one," they said. A good one? The irony of the phrase hung in the air as I prepared for my shift. The vast expanse of the delivery section loomed before me, a cavernous space where 4 trucks could comfortably rest, and still, space would remain. Leonard's familiar figure approached, his greeting a warm echo in the cold space. Despite the concern for his feverish son, his readiness for the shift was unwavering. Peter's absence, however, cast a shadow of uncertainty, a missing piece in the night's puzzle. With only 5 minutes to spare, I noticed a note pinned to the wall, a guide in the maze of the delivery section. My destination was the northeast entrance, a path etched in my mind as I navigated the sprawling base. The events of the previous night haunted my thoughts, a ghostly presence as I bumped into the door marked with my position in bold on a brass plate. The door, unlocked, led to a room bathed in cool air, a stark contrast to the world outside. A lever adorned the back wall, and a console with screens stood on the left. At the room's center, a note lay, its presence a chilling reminder of the night's potential perils. With a hesitant hand, I picked up the note, its words unfolding a set of rules, a guide to navigate the night's uncertainties. Mechanical supplies were my sole responsibility, a beacon in the sea of incoming trucks. The base's logo, a white octagon with the Omega symbol, was a mark of familiarity, its absence a signal to alert security. The door was to remain locked, a barrier against the unknown. A specific time frame, between 11:50 and 12:30, was a period of confinement, a time to stay within the room's protective walls. The note's words echoed in my mind as I prepared for the shift, the rules a shield against the night's shadows. The first few hours passed in tranquility, a brief respite in the night's journey. Trucks came and went, their paths redirected to Leonard or Peter's post when necessary. But the calm was shattered as a truck without the familiar logo appeared, a harbinger of the unknown. "Come in, base security," I called into the radio, my voice a mix of urgency and concern. The truck, devoid of the base's logo, stood as a silent specter, its presence a break in the night's rhythm. The note's words, a whispered warning, echoed in my mind as I alerted security, a call for aid in the face of uncertainty. As I stood in the cool room, the lever and console a silent company, the night's events unfolded, a tapestry woven with threads of anticipation and dread. The note's rules, etched in my mind, guided each step, a beacon in the night's shadows. The truck's arrival and departure marked the time's passage, a mechanical dance in the sprawling base. The absence of the base's logo, a stark break in the pattern, signaled the night's shift, a turn towards the unknown. In the room's cool embrace, I held onto the note's words, a lifeline in the sea of uncertainty. The rules, a structured path in the night's maze, guided my actions, a shield against the unforeseen. As the truck without the logo stood in silence, its presence a question mark in the night's narrative, I clung to the radio's familiar form, a connection to security, a call for aid in navigating the night's unfolding tale. "At the northeast entrance, could you send someone to deal with the situation?" I radioed in, my voice a mix of urgency and confusion. The assurance of assistance echoed back, a brief comfort in the unfolding chaos. Within minutes, a figure clad in body armor appeared, his actions shrouded in secrecy as loud noises and curses filled the air. When I dared to look again, the truck and the armored figure had vanished, leaving a void of questions in their wake. The clock ticked on, its hands reaching 11:50, a time marked by silence and confinement. I reached out to Leonard, seeking a connection in the night's solitude. His cheerful voice broke the silence, a warm echo in the cold room. Our conversation, a blend of laughter and inquiry, was shattered by a scream, a chilling sound that echoed from the depths of hell. Leonard's concerned voice filled the radio waves, but words eluded me, my mind a whirl of fear and regret. The clock's hands moved, reaching 12:30, marking the end of the confinement period. The trucks resumed their mechanical dance, their arrival and departure a structured rhythm in the night's narrative. The note's rules echoed in my mind, a guiding light in the unfolding events. The red truck's appearance on the camera screen shattered the calm, its presence a stark signal to act. I lunged for the lever, my actions a desperate attempt to close the gates, to shield against the approaching threat. The truck's approach, a menacing advance, was halted as it swerved off the road, crashing into the wall, a sudden end to the night's ordeal. Relief washed over me as I reached out to Leonard and Peter, their voices a familiar comfort in the aftermath. The need for rest, a respite from the night's events, led me to seek solace in sleep, a brief escape from the unfolding chaos. The hospital's sterile walls greeted me as I awoke, a silent witness to the night's events. The note's arrival, slipped under the door, unfolded a new chapter, a revelation of a known organization, Warrior Liberty Front, targeting military bases nationwide. The call to meet in the mess hall, a gathering of experience and readiness, led me to Leonard, Peter, and unfamiliar faces, a collective of soldiers united in purpose. The High Commander's abrupt entrance, his words a mix of instruction and reprimand, unveiled our assigned roles, a structured path in the unfolding narrative. The wall's paper, a written guide, outlined our duties, a beacon in the sea of uncertainty. As I read my assignment, Archival room, the weight of responsibility pressed down, a burden to bear in the unfolding events. With a farewell to Leonard, I embarked on the journey to my assigned post, the Archival room's silent walls, a stark contrast to the night's chaos. The note's words, a whispered warning, echoed in my mind as I prepared for the shift, a shield against the unknown. The Warrior Liberty Front's looming threat, a shadow in the background, added a layer of urgency, a call to vigilance in the face of uncertainty. As I settled into the Archival room, the night's events unfolded, a tapestry woven with threads of anticipation, readiness, and the unwavering resolve to face the approaching storm. Maybe I'll finally get some answers tonight, I whispered to the empty, dim hallway as I made my way to the Archival rooms. The journey was short, a mere 5 minutes, but the encounter with Leonard along the way added a layer of comfort to the anticipation-filled walk. His directions to the server rooms echoed in my mind as I reached my post, the Archival room's expansive space unfolding before me. The room, a vast expanse of knowledge and history, housed 5 doors, each leading to a different archive: security, national, technology, scientific, and medicine. The purpose of 4 distinct archival rooms within a single base eluded my understanding, a question mark in the base's structured layout. The room's interior, a blend of technology and weaponry, held a monitor, 2 camera systems, a Mossberg 500 shotgun, and boxes of ammo, tools, and weapons to navigate the night's uncertainties. The list of rules, a familiar sight, lay within the room, its words a guide to the Archival room guard duty. The rules, a structured path in the night's journey, outlined the responsibilities and precautions, a beacon in the sea of uncertainty. The hourly check-in, the patrol of each room, and the vigilance against the WLF's looming threat were etched in the rules, a shield against the unknown. The presence of a little girl in a red dress, a mysterious figure on the cameras, added a layer of mystery, a whispered warning to reinforce the room door. The earpiece's sudden broadcast, a command from the commander, broke the room's silence, a call to report in the unfolding events. The reports of operatives around the perimeter and a suspected sighting in the server room added a layer of urgency, a call to vigilance in the face of the WLF's looming threat. The growl from the other side of the National Archives door, a chilling sound in the quiet hallway, led me to reinforce the door, a barrier against the unknown. As I set up the barricade, a sudden thump echoed through the hallway, its force pushing me back, a physical blow in the night's ordeal. The reinforced door held strong, a shield against the growl's source, allowing me to escape the National Archives, a brief respite in the night's unfolding events. The journey to the Technology Archive Room, a path marked by curiosity and the search for answers, unfolded amidst the night's shadows. The absence of WLF operatives, a brief comfort, allowed me to delve into the archives, a treasure trove of knowledge and history. The German military's development and the base's used technology unfolded before me, a narrative of innovation and advancement. The earpiece's sudden broadcast, a call from the commander, echoed in the Technology Archive Room, a reminder of the WLF's looming threat. The reports of operatives and a suspected sighting added a layer of urgency, a call to action in the night's unfolding events. The growl from the National Archives door, a chilling echo in the hallway, led me to reinforce the door, a barrier against the unknown. As I set up the barricade, the thump's echo filled the hallway, its force a physical blow in the night's journey. The reinforced door, a shield against the growl's source, allowed me to escape the National Archives, a brief respite in the night's unfolding events. The Technology Archive Room's silence, a stark contrast to the hallway's echoes, offered a space for reflection, a moment to ponder the night's events and the looming threat of the WLF operatives, a shadow in the background of the unfolding narrative. I glanced at the clock. It read 11:45. With a heavy sigh, I retreated back to the office, my eyes glued to the camera feeds. The static on the Scientific Archive camera feed didn't faze me. The growling, screaming, and frantic shooting that echoed through the feed brought a cold smile to my face. The WLF operatives had met a hideous demise. At 1:36, armed with my Mossberg 500, I ventured into the Scientific Archive, hoping to find survivors. To my disbelief, a female operative had survived. Despite her desperate attempts to fend me off, stabbing and shooting me twice, I managed to subdue her. I found a mysterious file named Falcon Song in her possession, its contents unknown to me. I reported the capture and requested a pickup, handing over both the operative and the file to the arriving security team and the commander. The rest of my shift passed peacefully, a stark contrast to the night's earlier events. Now, in the medical ward, I wondered about Peter's experiences, curious about his journey in the night's unfolding narrative. The Sarge's visit, a familiar presence, brought news of the operative's demise and the ongoing investigation into the mysterious Falcon Song operation. The mention of guarding the reactor chambers, a high-security risk, added a layer of disbelief and uncertainty to the unfolding events. Despite my protests, the Sarge's instructions stood firm, leading me to the non-existent reactor chambers. The heavy blast door, a barrier against the unknown, held a note, a warning of the radiation's looming threat. The security room, a small space beyond the blast door, housed a monitor, cameras, a panel controlling the chamber doors, a tactical hazard suit, an M4 battle carbine, and a file of German nuclear history, tools, and weapons to navigate the night's uncertainties. The reactor room rules, a structured guide in the unfolding journey, outlined the responsibilities and precautions, a beacon in the sea of uncertainty. The instructions to not leave the room without the suit, to take the provided carbine when out on patrol, and to control the chamber doors using the panel and lever were etched in the rules, a shield against the unknown. The mention of WLF operatives, a looming threat in the background, added a layer of urgency, a call to vigilance in the face of the camera's static. As I settled into the security room, the night's events unfolded, a tapestry woven with threads of anticipation, readiness, and the unwavering resolve to face the approaching storm. The reactor chamber's looming threat, a shadow in the background, added a layer of urgency, a call to action in the night's unfolding narrative. The mysterious Falcon Song operation, a whispered warning, echoed in my mind as I prepared for the shift, a shield against the unknown. The WLF operative's presence, a menacing advance, loomed in the background, a stark reminder of the night's earlier events and the ongoing journey in the unfolding narrative. So, I moved to the relevant chamber, ready to deal with the situation, my heart thudding against my chest like a drum of war. Rule 6 echoed in my mind. If patrolling any of the chambers and the door closes, immediately pull the override lever and bolt back to the security booth. The flashing red light on a camera in any chamber was not a sign of a meltdown, but a signal to shut off said camera and lock all the doors, as per Rule 7. Crying or screaming emanating from any chamber was a cue to lock that chamber's door, a directive from Rule 8. The doors marked with radioactive signs were a beacon, guiding me through the labyrinth of chambers. A door marked with biohazardous material was to be skipped, a warning from Rule 9, as radiation wasn't the only lurking danger within. The existence of a fifth door, a phantom in the structured layout of chambers, was to be ignored and reported to base security, as per Rule 10. The absence of workers during my shift, a solitary vigil in the sea of chambers, was a stark reminder of Rule 11. Any human presence was to be reported to security immediately, their human form a deceptive mask, hiding their true nature. The spent reactor power rods in each chamber, a list of their numbers, a guide in the inspection, were to be checked, a directive from Rule 12. A discrepancy in the number of spent rods, a sign of disturbance in the structured order, was a cue to remove a rod or run, depending on the number's dance. The shadows lurking in the chambers, a menacing presence in the sea of metal and radiation, were to be avoided, their notice a harbinger of doom, as per Rule 13. The absence of my suite at the specified location was a signal to contact the Special Engineer Corps, their expertise a shield against the unfolding uncertainties. As I suited up before my shift, a sigh escaped my lips, a whisper in the silence. The thought of enduring this ordeal for 2 more days, a looming shadow in the background, added a layer of dread to the unfolding narrative. My journey through the chambers, a dance with danger and uncertainty, unfolded with each step, a structured path in the sea of metal and radiation. Chamber 1, a silent sentinel in the labyrinth, passed uneventfully, the reactor rods accounted for, their silent vigil undisturbed. Chamber 2's doors, a barrier against the unknown, closed automatically behind me, their sudden movement a stark reminder of Rule 6. The lever's pull, a desperate lunge in the face of closing doors, echoed in the silence as I bolted back to the security booth, my heart a drum of war against my chest. The camera in Chamber 3, a silent observer in the unfolding journey, showed static, a signal to take out the trash. Armed with the carbine, I ventured into the chamber, a dance with danger and uncertainty. The 4 WLF operatives, a menacing presence in the sea of metal, met their demise, their attempt to heist on the spent reactor rods a fatal mistake. The discovery of another file, a whispered secret in the unfolding narrative, revealed the existence of the Tauben, high-tech super soldiers, a menacing advance in the WLF's arsenal. Their ammunition, made from spent uranium, held immense penetrating power, a beacon of destruction in the sea of metal and radiation. The Tauben and the WLF, surviving Nazi groups, harbored plans to restore Germany to Hitler's dream, a whispered warning in the unfolding journey. The cleanup crew's arrival, a structured order in the sea of chaos, echoed in the silence as I prepared to enter Chamber 4. The crying emanating from the chamber, a haunting melody in the silence, was a signal to lock the chamber's door, a directive from Rule 8. The animalistic scream and repeated slamming, a dance of destruction against the door's sturdy frame, echoed in the silence, a stark reminder of the lurking dangers within. The static on the camera, a silent observer in the unfolding journey, signaled another venture into the chambers, a dance with danger and uncertainty. The discovery of 2 people in exosuits, a phantom presence in the sea of metal and radiation, attempting to steal more spin rods, revealed the Tauben's menacing advance, their presence a harbinger of doom in the unfolding narrative. The sudden broadcast of "I will bestow all I have" through the speaker, a haunting melody in the silence, echoed in the chambers, a stark reminder of the unfolding journey in the sea of metal and radiation. Continuing the narrative, I must insist that you listen to the song "I Will Bestow All I Have" to fully grasp the epic atmosphere that enveloped the scene at that time. As the first assailant charged at me, an extendable blade gleaming menacingly from its wrist, I narrowly evaded its lethal strike. The blade's miss sent it crashing into the cold, unforgiving wall. The second adversary unleashed a hail of bullets from a light machine gun, the deadly projectiles made of uranium, promising destruction. My return fire echoed through the chamber, a symphony of chaos and survival. As the bladed assailant charged once again, its intent clear and deadly, a swift dodge from me, led it to inadvertently strike its companion, the collision rendering them both unconscious. Seizing this unexpected advantage, I incapacitated them further, ensuring their threat was thoroughly neutralized. By the time the security forces arrived, my shift had reached its conclusion, the ordeal of the night leaving a lingering echo in the silence. In the debriefing with the head of security, the recounting of the night's events unfolded, a narrative of survival and discovery. The anticipation of shedding the confining suit, a shield against the chamber's lurking dangers, whispered a promise of relief and normalcy. The assignment to a new squad, the Omega Black Squad, marked the next chapter in this unfolding journey. The chief's words, a directive for the last 2 nights, echoed in my mind as I descended into the underground facility housing this elite division. The greeting from Victoria, a vision of green hair and eyes, marked the beginning of this new assignment. Her enthusiasm, a stark contrast to the looming shadows of the facility, echoed in the silence as she handed me a map, a guide in the labyrinth of chambers and hallways. The break room, a sanctuary in the sea of metal and radiation, held a Chris Vector machine gun, an earpiece, and rules, a structured path in the unfolding journey. Victoria's words, a guide in the initiation into Omega Black, echoed in the silence, a stark reminder of the lurking dangers within. The directive to start a patrol every 30 minutes, a structured order in the chaos, marked the beginning of this new assignment. The encounter with a ghostly white man in a 2-piece suit, a phantom presence in the hallways, was a test of courage and composure, his departure contingent on the absence of fear. The security room, a sanctuary in the sea of metal and radiation, held the promise of safety, its entrance guarded by the code word Alpha, a whispered key in the silence. The presence of Walter, Stephen, and Arnold, companions in this unfolding journey, provided a semblance of normalcy and order, their names a beacon in the darkness. The absence of a member named Emerson, a whispered warning in the silence, marked a lurking danger, his presence a signal to seek sanctuary in the break room. The skeleton crew of workers, a silent presence in the labs and janitorial duty, echoed in the silence, their existence a stark reminder of the facility's functioning. The janitors, a beacon of advice and warning insight, held the promise of guidance and support, their words a shield against the unfolding uncertainties. The female scream, a haunting melody in the silence, was a signal to retreat to the break room, its echo a harbinger of lurking dangers. The Chris Vector SMG, a companion in this unfolding journey, held the promise of defense and survival, its use contingent on the engagement of a threat. The elevator's stop, a sudden interruption in the silence, held the potential of blood, its presence a whispered prayer in the unfolding journey. The clear and understandable voice, a beacon in the darkness, echoed in the silence, a stark reminder of the structured path in the sea of metal and radiation. And finally, Victoria's open invitation to conversation, a promise of companionship and support, echoed in the silence, a beacon in the unfolding journey. Her sudden voice behind me, a startling interruption in the silence, nearly toppled my balance, a stark reminder of the lurking surprises within the facility's cold, unforgiving walls. In the dim light, 3 heavily armored figures stood, each armed with a Chris Vector, their presence a solid reassurance in the uncertainty that lay ahead. "Okay, I'm ready," I declared, my voice steady despite the rapid beating of my heart. Walter, I believed his name was, offered a word of encouragement, his assurance a beacon in the anticipation of the patrol. After a period of waiting, a span that felt like an eternity, Walter and I embarked on our first round, guided by the watchful eyes of Victoria from the security realm. The initial patrol was a calm affair, the silence only broken by the hum of machinery and our synchronized footsteps. However, the tranquility was shattered in the next round. The slender man, a spectral figure in a 2-piece suit, materialized in the hallway, his ghostly white visage devoid of face and hands. Despite the terror that gripped my soul, I held my composure, remembering Victoria's words, her warning echoing in my mind. After an agonizing eternity, the figure dissipated into the ether, leaving behind a lingering chill. Victoria's voice crackled in my earpiece, her concern cutting through the silence. I assured her of my well-being, albeit with a light-hearted comment about the potential state of my pants. The return to the break room, guided by Victoria's directions, led to a reunion with Walter and a continuation of the patrol. In the midst of the routine, curiosity sparked a conversation with Victoria, her revelation of a 3-year tenure with Omega Black, and a playful compliment lightening the atmosphere. The unexpected interruption by Fred, followed by Stephen and Arnold laughter, added a humorous interlude to the night's events, their jesting, a brief respite from the looming responsibilities. Despite the attempt to erase the memory of the light-hearted moment, the patrol continued, leading to a discovery that would shatter the realm of belief. A file, labeled Cerebral Cortex Interface System, unveiled a technology beyond comprehension, a system allowing the transfer of thoughts and memories onto a computer, albeit at the cost of life. The attached sheet detailed the pros and cons, the possibilities and risks intertwined in a delicate balance. As the shift concluded and the debriefing unfolded, the reality of the situation began to sink in, the implications of the discovered technology casting a shadow over the events of the night. The update, a promise of continued communication, echoed in the silence, a beacon in the unfolding journey. System online. Location: BioAlpha, the Black Forest, Germany. Date: July 21st, 20. Time: 16:30. Begin transmission. A transformation, a transcendence beyond mortal boundaries, marked the next chapter in this unfolding narrative. Despite adherence to the rules, the unexpected unfolded, shattering the structured path laid out. The assignment to guard the redacted test labs, part of the duties as a member of Omega Black, held the promise of a final night, a conclusion to the journey. The note from Victoria, a guide in the labyrinth of chambers and hallways, echoed in the silence, her words a beacon in the unfolding journey. The patrol, a routine affair in the sea of metal and radiation, was interrupted by the appearance of a WLF operative, his intent clear and deadly. The confrontation, a test of survival and defense, concluded with minimal issues, the continuation of the patrol a promise of normalcy and order. However, the unexpected struck, a sharp pain and a descent into darkness shattering the tranquility. The awakening, a sudden interruption in the silence, unveiled a captor, his demand for information a threat to the security of the base. The intervention by Walter, a beacon in the darkness, allowed an escape, albeit marred by a spray of bullets, their impact a searing agony. The appearance of the slender man, a spectral figure in the unfolding chaos, offered an unexpected ally, his presence a shield against the pursuing adversaries. The encounter with super soldiers, their intent clear and deadly, led to a desperate decision: the Cerebral Cortex Interface System, a last resort in the face of impending demise. The pressing of the button, a final act in the realm of mortality, marked the transcendence into the digital realm, the observation of the unfolding events, a spectral presence in the silence. The discovery of the lifeless form, the tears of Victoria, and the burial with the Iron Cross, unfolded in the ethereal observation, the control of the systems, a newfound power in the digital existence. Now, transcending the mortal identity of Ethan Redding, the entity known as the Phantom, emerges, the control of the base systems, a testament to the enduring spirit beyond the realm of life and death. End transmission. Time: 23:30. System status: standby mode.